right. Good morning to our viewers, and you are welcome to our community show here at Civic Space TV. We hope you had a merry, happy Christmas, and we hope you are also looking forward to joining 2025 with all the prayers and everything that you wish for it to be. That is 2025. So you are welcome to yet another episode of our community show where we get to discuss issues that are affecting our different communities and to see how the community can come together to maybe come up with different measures to deal with these very pertinent issues. Today, I am your host, Derrick Mugabe, and I will be chairing the panel for the next 40 or so minutes. And so with me on the show are four people, and they will be introducing themselves to you. But just to bring you up to speed, our topic of the day is addressing intimate partner violence and what the role of the community. So this will be coming in line with the recent concluded 16 days of activism, and the theme of the year was Unite, Invest, Prevent Violence Against Women and Girls. So we decided to bring this conversation to get to know the different perspectives from the panelists that we have today. We all know in Uganda, the prevalence of intimate partner violence is so high, especially among the married women, which accounts for around 56%. That between women who are aged between the ages of 15 and 49. And we attribute a lot of different issues I've been seeing, looking at case studies and listening to different shows where in cultural attitudes, where we have this sort of patriarchal kind of community, and most people have attributed it to alcohol abuse, and this has kind of brought in many far-reaching effects. I mean, we've seen people with burns, they have like broken limbs. We've seen it create, psychological harm to the women and to the men as well. We've seen it have far-reaching effects in terms of like post-traumatic stress disorder to the children or the families. So this kind of behavior within intimate relationships has caused physical and sexual harm in different ways. So today we shall be discussing how this intimate partner violence can be dealt with straight on communities. How can we report it, and how can we go about the effects in case people are victims already? So without any more introductions, I'm going to ask our panelists to introduce themselves, and I will begin with Afande Jackson Mucunguzi. Could you please introduce yourself, what you do at police for those who do not know, and then we can carry forward. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much for this opportunity. Warm greetings to our listeners, our viewers. I am a senior superintendent of police, Jackson Mucunguzi, a senior officer at the Department of Child and Family Protection. At Child and Protection, we ensure that we fight for the rights of children and generally having stable families. And this is what I do on a daily basis. My extra serious assignment I do is to ensure that the rights of a boy child is protected. So this is what I do on a daily basis. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much, Afande Mucunguzi, for introducing yourself. I recall you at Makerere University when I used to report for Campus B, how I used to like frequent your office looking for bites and all that. But well done. Thank you so much for contributing your efforts from the Child and Family Protection Unit of the Uganda Police to make sure that the rights of women, the boy child, like you mentioned, and children are kept intact and they are not violated. So I'm also going to ask the other panelist, that is Pastor Joseph, to please introduce himself and let our listeners and viewers know who he really is and what he actually does. You're welcome aboard, Pastor.
Okay.
Yeah, we are asking if you could please introduce yourself to viewers and let them know who you are and what you do.
Okay. Good morning, listeners and viewers. I'm called Pastor Joseph Kawooma. I lead a ministry called God's Flames Revival Ministries. We honor, we do a lot of things. One, we do counseling, and even we work with schools. We do ministry schools and even talk to young people to live a life that is worth living, and even helping people to understand, to know more about God, and even to have a better future, and to know what they are supposed to do and what they are not supposed to do, to help their lives to grow and to be better in Jesus' name. So thank you so much for hosting us.
Thank you so much, Pastor. We hope to hear about a lot that you do in terms of like partner violence and all that in a few minutes to come. So thank you so much for introducing yourself. And over to you, Busingye, if you could please introduce yourself to our viewers and let us know what you do. Yeah, would be delighted to get to know you more.
Thank you so much. My name is Busingye Kateihwa. I'm a midwife by professional. I work at the referral under some project where we work on give preconception care and many other services for pregnant women before and during and after. Then I'm also a counselor. I'm a CEO at Tuhaburane platform where we sensitize the communities about the importance of family and values and morals, help the girl child and move around schools, homes, and any other platform that is created. I'm also a mental advocate and many other things. So I'm glad to be here, and I want to wish you an early Merry Christmas, though we are in the season. Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much for introducing yourself. I think to our viewers, you heard it. We have someone from the Child and Family Protection Unit. We have someone from a faith-based organization, and we have a midwife who also doubles as a counselor and a mental health advocate who has actually also been doing incredible work around like violence against women, girls, and of course I know she also focuses on men, like Afande Mucunguzi does. So to set the stage for today, we are discussing how to address intimate partner violence. To give a bit of a perspective, this is behavior within intimate relationships that causes physical, sexual, and psychological harm. So in terms of physical, it could be like maybe a fight. A physical fight could, like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, leaves people with burns, with wounds, and all that kind of stuff. And in terms of psychological, we are talking about abuses that have to do a lot with the mind, which sometimes also manifest in the physical. So we are also talking about sexual abuse. I mean, like we have people, like married people, having sex without consent of their other partners, or those other many lots of things like you really understand. And we believe this can happen to anyone at any stage. And most of the issues bringing around intimate partner violence are mainly cultural, and others are, like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, are like alcohol abuse. So we've seen it happen. It happens to any gender, could be a man, could be a woman, and it also happens to people at different income levels. It doesn't mean that you drive a Land Cruiser, you cannot have partner violence. That can happen to you, and it happens to all races, religions, and it also happens to people at different dating levels. We've seen cases where there's been like partner battering at at campus level where these people are, like dating at that level. And we've seen it also happen with married couples. So we believe this affects all of us. So to shoot straight into the discussion, and I'll ask to begin with Molly. How would you define intimate partner violence, and how have you seen it manifest in the Ugandan communities that you have worked with?
Thank you so much, Mr. Derrick. Yeah, like you said, it's any behavior within an intimate relationship that causes physical, emotional, psychological, or social harm to the person, to the point that it disarms their ability to function normally on a daily basis. For example, like you said, physical, if someone is hit and maybe their arm is broken, their eyes is blacked out, or they have been burned, that means they will have to take off some time, a month, a week, or 2 weeks to heal so that they can be able to do their daily activities. If it is emotional, you see it causes low esteem, it brings fear, anxiety, depression, meaning still the person will feel low mood, they can't function, they can't behave properly, there's isolation. So the person will even withdraw from the community. They even, people when they are depressed, some people don't even bathe, they don't eat. Someone cannot basically function like how they are normally to function. And even when we talk about other means, physical, emotional, psychological, sexual, when someone is forced into sex, of course it comes with the injuries, because you know that sexual is an activity that is psychological. It starts in the mind. So if the whole body is not prepared, someone is not prepared mentally, that means even the muscles and the body involved is not prepared. So it will cause injury, and also it looks as if it is rape, and it comes with still psychological pain. So in a society, but already there is that it is among all the forms of violence, I consider emotional violence to be the highest, because you can beat someone and then they heal, they get a scar, yes, and they heal. But when someone is abused emotionally and psychologically, there's how it dismantles the whole being. Because if someone has lost their low esteem, someone has lost a sense of direction, someone has lost their belief, their belief system has been dismantled, their identity has been dismantled, that means they don't even have a sense of direction. They don't believe they can do anything, even when they have the potential. So that's how hard it can be. So in our society, we see these things every day. And even us who work in hospitals, we see them every day. And I can tell you that you mentioned the statistics. Yeah, we can see that I was reading about the statistics, and it says that 45% of women experience physical violence compared to men. 39.2 women experience physical violence compared to 3% of men, 40 compared to 8% of men, and the 56 that you talked about. And even countrywide, we see that 10 million people experience violence in their intimate relationship. And of course, I think ahead we'll be seeing what causes this and how it comes about, and even the mitigations we can do. But these are things that we see every day, even in our neighborhood, where we stay, at our workplaces. Even at the workplace, someone can violate you. We have seen workmates who violate others, and someone violates you. Of course, most of the times the people at workplace, they don't reach at that extent of fighting, but someone can violate you verbally, and they abuse you. What kind of work is this? Where did you go to school? How you are not efficient? They report you, gossip, slander, and backbiting, things like those. And you find someone can no longer concentrate, and some people have resigned because of this violence. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Molly, for giving this more far-reaching psychological understanding. So to our viewers, humiliating someone, bullying someone, being controlling in regards to where they go or what they do you are ideally dismantling their identity. You just heard it from Molly. So that, I think, tantamounts to psychological torture or these other psychological effects of intimate partner violence, or like she mentioned with work, that means you are emotionally abusing someone. So I'll take this now straight to Afande Mucunguzi to give us his perspective of what intimate partner violence is and how he has seen it manifest in Ugandan communities in his role as the senior officer at Child and Family Protection Unit of Uganda Police. Over to you, Afande Mucunguzi.
Yeah, thank you very much, our host and the previous discussant for doing justice to what exactly this wild animal is. Of course, anything that is violent has no space in our lives, has no space in society, and therefore whoever is being stop domestic and any violence that you are doing. To be specific with this partners in any way and in any form and content, the sole purpose of the life companies, and therefore, if one exploit and maim and use it as the battlefield
is it just me?
For fighting, are you getting?
We keep losing. We lose you.
So you lost me.
From the start.
You lost me at what point? Now you can hear me.
If you could go afresh, that would be nice.
Okay, going afresh. Yeah. I was saying that going afresh, I said that the sole purpose of marriage is happiness. Okay, we join marriage an institution to be happy, and once we are happy, God blesses us with children. So we normally say that it is very, very backward of any person to find that you are violent against your spouse. So the issue of spouse violence is very barbaric. It is backward, and it shouldn't be practiced in this era. When two adults meet with intent to be happy, and later on maybe they disagree or there is a conflict, then the best way is to sit and communicate it out, other than ascending on your spouse and you find that you are doing contrary to what you are supposed to be doing. So this act has no space in society. You voice against it, and those who are doing it, you are actually agents of underdevelopment. So this issue of spouse violence should be voiced against. I hope now you are getting me, my brother.
You're very, very clear now.
Wonderful. So,
okay,
I normally
thank you so much, Afande. You say you normally.
I normally wonder how once somebody you loved, who was your darling, who's your baby, you give them the love name, you out of blue change and you start to see her or him as your opponent. You beat, you maim, you break. You really do things that inhuman to each other. I think that is the power of the devil, and we pray that it shouldn't be there. I'm glad we have a pastor here who should pick it from there.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Afande. So, Pastor, since you had a religious-based like organization, I don't mean to say NGO, but I mean it's a structure. So we are bound to call it an organization in literal terms. So, what is your take? How have you seen intimate partner kind of violence unfold in your kind of space, Pastor Joseph?
Okay, thank you very much. I would like to thank every person that has been participating about domestic violence and the violence we have seen in our communities. Majorly, I've looked at, I want to talk about the violence we are seeing in families and the violence we are seeing with spouses and even the children, because we have heard that most people, or when the spouses fight and talk or argue, some of the parents, they instead of all quarreling and fighting, they take every anger and bitterness to the children. And you find that children are being abused, children are being harassed because of the challenges the parents are having. We have had it many times that instead of disciplining, somebody is brutally and beating a child because he was meant to beat either the husband, or the husband has failed to do this or the other, and he beats up the child mercilessly. And we have had even in our communities children being banned because of stealing, being banned, or over somebody beats beyond measure, and someone who, even without mercy, he beats up the child. So violence, we are seeing it in many ways. Even we are seeing this for being abused in our communities. But what is attributed to that may be even the upbringing of our generation, the upbringing of the parents that are parenting the children today. Maybe they have lived in a setting that somebody saw that a father beats up a mother, and so as he has grown up, he knows that if I don't fight my spouse, if I don't beat my spouse, then my spouse may not respect me, somebody may not respect me in that manner, because he has seen it in the community, or he has seen it, his father doing it to the mother, and he says, he just picks a leaf, and he begins to do that even in his or her marriage. So it's my prayer that also we know that there are people that we might not say that they are demons, because always demons are used, demons that we say that all demons are influence somebody to fight, and even the drugs that in our communities, so many people are doing drugs that they lose their mind, and after losing their mind, they can fight, they can do ABCD, and some people are weak and cannot carry the mental balance when they take alcohol. So they find themselves fighting and even losing it. But if God can help us, that our community, we can remove the thing that disturb our mind and disturb our lives, then we can have a peaceful home and a peaceful, even our children can be happy when we know that it's not violence, because not everything is sorted by violence, but we can sort things by talking amicably about them. So in our community, if we can allow people who can talk peacefully, then our community can be better.
Thank you so much, Pastor, for that comprehensive intro. But now, Pastor, I want you to let go of the microphone. I would like to know, how have you been able, as a faith-based organization, been able to navigate the tension between this kind of culture and the gender role? I mean, we know we come from some communities that claim it's okay for men to beat their women if they are unfaithful. And then we also have communities that believe a woman doesn't have to leave their home, they have to tolerate the violence to keep their families together. We have communities that culturally believe, because I have paid bride price, then I am entitled to do with my wife the way I please. You understand? So how have you, as a faith-based organization, been able to navigate the tension between these cultural practices and the traditionally accepted gender roles?
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. At that time, or right now, as a church, as a church, we teach people to love their spouses. And the Bible says, for a man, you are meant to love your wife. And your husband is your husband is supposed to love you, and a wife is to respect. And when we look at biblically, there are people in the Bible we look at that have done that, they have gone through hard times, but they have loved their wives. They have loved their spouses. Look at Isaac. Isaac loved the wife, and the wife was barren. And instead of Isaac quarreling and abusing the wife, Rebecca, the Bible says Isaac prayed for Rebecca to conceive. So if we can allow the men there can love their spouses, then we teach them to love. Because if we are looking at the Christian setting, we are looking at God is love. Love is giving, love is patient, love is kind, love is forgiving. So if we teach them to love their spouses, because love is a broad thing. And if we have people that love genuinely their spouses, then God, and we are talking about God in the setting, because we are looking at God in the setting is love. And love is giving, love is patient, love is kind. So even if there is a misunderstanding, we have to work it out through love, because it's not good behavior. I normally tell people that every weak man beats up a woman. But not every strong man does not beat a woman, because a woman is a weak vessel. If you want to fight and beat up, you need to fight with their fellow man. But every weak man beats up a woman. So every strong man handles things amicably, and he does not fight. So for us, we teach people to love one another, and even to respect that even this is an image, you are also in the image of God. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pastor Joseph. I think to our viewers, you have got to understand how different faith-based organizations have been able to use biblical teachings and principles to address and promote healthier relationships, and also tackle the challenge between the cultural practices that people believe in and what outrightly has to be done. So I'd like to check in. Emily, are you on the call? Emily, if you're on the call, please. Oh, she's off. Yeah, so that bit of it. So I would like to now shift gears back to Afande Mucunguzi. I think around September, when the police was launching the toll-free number where people can call to report cases of intimate partner violence, gender-based violence, I think to court, the police spokesperson at the time said most men are afraid to come forward, but then because they feel like the confidentiality issues, how will I be seen as a man coming forward that my wife has beaten me? I'm not trying to take this to the male or the boy child, but I'd like to know, what challenges have you faced as a law enforcement agency in responding to such issues? And how have you been able to navigate and build this kind of trust between you guys and the communities to increase the way how people report about cases of intimate partner violence?
Yeah, thank you very much for the second opportunity. I want to re-echo the police hotlines, free toll numbers that we have. And in a case you are there suffering from, this problem of partner violence, you can call these numbers. The one of police, the toll-free number that deals with gender-based violence is 0800 119 19. I repeat, 0800 199 195. The moment you call it and you are under duress, you are suffering from gender-based violence, whether a man, woman, police is there to help you. Then the Ministry of Gender and Labor, the one that deals with children, they have also another call center called Sauti. And Sauti has also a call center which helps freely, and it is Sauti 116. The moment you dial 116, whether on smartphone or you can be helped by that number. So what are the challenges that we also, the challenges that we meet as police when we are handling the issues of partner violence? We have got a problem of African culture. They feel that the culture, a man or a spouse is not supposed to report. And this one affects us so much, where we have many victims and they are not speaking. You see, people are walking in town, but partner violence is very high. But with the now new dynamics of awareness, sharing here and there, right placing, for example, my coming in as a male in the Department of Child and Family Protection has opened up doors for very many men to come and report. They are calling and they are shedding tears. So this issue of partner violence is not necessarily against women, but it is also affecting men. We have the problem of our laws. Our laws, at times they take long, you know, and for you must have evidence, how to attract the evidence, especially with the sexual violence. Many people, they see it when you want to swab the evidence. They will say you want to go in our private parts. And yet Africans are always shy when it comes to sexual matters. So we have that challenge. Most men, most women, they feel shy. There is this upbringing. Our background is also affecting us so much. A girl child is raised that you must not talk the issues of private matters, especially private parts in public. When you say them, you would have shamed the clan, you have shamed your mother, you have shamed your pastor, everybody. So people are dying in silence. Marital rape is the order of the day. Most men don't ask for consent. The first speaker, Madam, was saying, you see, sex starts from the mind. But for us, from police perspective, we say it must have the consent. You must consent with the person you are going to have conjugal rights with. And consent must be obtained from the beginning up to the last. In between, when you see somebody is quiet, please you stop there and first seek for the consent. So it affects us so much. Then ignorance of the law and our general society. Some clients, they come, then you find police officers and Ugandans whom they have found at the counter, they laugh at them. They laugh at them that how do you report that your wife beats you? Or how do you report that your husband beats you? So all those ones affect us so much. Then others, the last challenge that we have is bargaining. You find that most people, when they suffer from the same, they come at police when police intervenes to handle, to ensure that the law bites. Then the clan members come, they intervene, they reconcile them. Out of blue, the victim now comes to withdraw the case. So this one causes more harm than good in as far as partner intimacy is concerned. Others, they keep saying, I'm in marriage because of my children, but I normally ask them, you will be the mother of these children when you arrive. You don't wait to die, and then you keep saying that you are for your children. So I don't know whether you are getting me, my brother.
I'm really understanding, because I know people must tell actually the ladies they have to tolerate the violence to keep their families together, but they forget in so tolerating they could actually lose their lives along the way.
So that is how terrible the Yeah, that's how terrible the monster is. And we need to join hands and ensure that we fight this issue of intimate partners violence. It is so pervasive and complex issue. It affects us at individual level, at family level, and community and globally. You find that people of high integrity, and unfortunately, I don't know, people of high integrity, people holding big positions, they are suffering this issue. Yeah, they are suffering, and for them, they suffer double because they are scared of how to come and say it. Yeah, so they should know that this is the issue. You know, our Child and Family Protection Department, we deal with crimes of feelings, not the stealing or the gun violence. And when you zero down, you find that it affects everybody. So we need to see how to raise our awareness. We continue to sensitize Ugandans. We see how we can support our victims and survivors, so that we can do much better. But the best way to this is to involve men and boys. The moment you involve a suspect in the crime, it helps us so much do better. So we call upon whoever is against intimate, a boy child must be involved to see the dangers, to know the disadvantages of intimacy, of intimate violence.
Thank you so much, Afande. But before I let you go to call on the next panelist, I would like you to help our viewers to expound more on attempted rape and then sex without consent, and also issues around like harassing, stalking, or issues around threatening, or with words, with looks, or with some actions. What is your take on such kind of terminologies? Because they tend to confuse people a lot, and some people find this okay, but from my understanding, I never find them okay. I mean, he just touched me, he just pushed me, or she just touched me, or she just pushed me. People take these things to be light, yet these are like the beginning points of the kind of intimate partner violence set to unfold. So if you could help our viewers understand a bit of these little things they take as basic, yet they are complexities that tend to endanger or harm their mental health, their physical health in future. I mean, if you could please be helpful and help our viewers to understand that the things they take light are actually as serious as leading them to grave danger.
Thank you very much, our host. The Uganda Police uses Uganda Penal Code Act, and the Penal Code Act outlines the laws and penalties for sexual-related crimes, and these crimes include rape. Rape is where you find adults are having sexual contacts or sexual intercourse without consent, the non-consensual sexual intercourse, which includes vaginal, anal, or oral penetration. And this one, they do it most often, and we say as long as there is no consent and somebody enters into your vagina or uses your penis without your consent and pot. We have issues that are usually unwelcome behavior or unwelcome verbal or physical conducts of sexual nature. They include, for example, you can talk about catcalling, leering, making sexual comments, stalking. If somebody you and he scratches your hand, that is sexual harassment. Others, they see you, they wink the eyes, that is sexual harassment. Somebody keeps, somebody is not your friend, is just a mere colleague, is bringing in flowers of love, that's sexual harassment. You find somebody, for us men, we like monitoring women. When the women are shaking their bums, you are keeping looking, you even be offside, that is sexual harassment. Admiring. So that means every Ghana, the penal code also goes ahead and it gives us powers to punish those who commit incest. This is the non-consensual sexual contact between family members. Of late, we have realized that Some parents rape their own daughters, especially men, which is regrettable. You find that siblings are having sexual intercourse within themselves. And this is where I call upon the parents that please, you be there for your children. Avoid this nonsense of sleepovers. You are getting your children, you allow them to go and sleep to the relatives, aunties, what. These children, because of modernization, the world being a global village, they are having sexual intercourse there, and it is very regrettable. Most girls have lost virginity in those nonsense. Be there for your children, know what they are doing, know where they are sleeping, and go ahead to know what they are doing every time. So our penal code is very clear on this issue. Attempted rape, whenever you hear something attempted, it means that you tried to do something but you did not commit. For example, attempted rape, you tried to rape somebody but you did not succeed. And it is also chargeable as long as we have the evidence. So sexual, intimate and partners violence is ill, is bad, is voiced against, and we call upon all of us, including panelists, never at one time be suspects of intimate violence.
Thank you so much, Afande, for shedding more light on those different terminologies that people tend to find them very confusing, and yet they are this clear. Actually, the most important and biggest issue is people tend to ignore these flags that always lead them into trouble. So thank you so much, Afande, for helping us really do understand these different aspects of intimate partner violence that we tend not to pay attention to. So now I'll shift over to our therapist on call. So I would love to hear from you, Molly. What have you seen as the long-term effects of intimate partner violence, and how have you seen the survivors maybe faring, and how do you think as a community we can support these survivors in healing? I also beg to ask you to factor in the bit about safe spaces that Afande Mucunguzi talked about. That's like involving men, creating spaces where they are free to actually open up. So as you shed more on the challenges, if you could also please try to factor in the kind of safe spaces that you know are available and how people can maybe access them. Thank you so much, and over to you, Molly.
Okay, thank you so much, our host and the former speakers. Yeah, among the effects, we have seen. You had mentioned about, like, for example, the physical violence. We can see bruises, we can see cuts, we can see broken bones. And now if someone has broken a bone, that means they are lame forever. Their ability to function has been reduced to low esteem. Those are some of the effects: fear, anxiety, depression, social isolation, because we saw that among emotional or psychological violence, the person will restrict you from being social, restrict you access to your family and friends. That intimidation, manipulation, control, all these, they impact so much on someone's identity. They cause fear, depression, anxiety, behavior change. Someone who was jolly, someone who was happy, suddenly they are no longer involved with people, they are no longer social, they are no longer active in anything. They have lost interest in things, even things they used to love. Someone who was active at work, now they can no longer perform. They can no longer be able to make decisions. Why? Because their identity was damaged, and someone was like, for you, there's nothing you can ever do which can be beneficial. For you, you will never achieve anything. You are insane, you are moron. As in, they mention all these ugly words that really damage your esteem. And when someone's esteem is damaged, even if you brought maybe millions of money and said do a business, they think they cannot do it. Why? Because they think there is no value, there is no worth inside them. They do not have the ability, they do not have the sense I remember one time in my early years of childbearing, someone brought me a young girl to work. I was like, this young girl. So as she stayed at my place, I asked her, would you like to go back to school? Because we had a school in the nearby where you say that this child can go there every day and study and come and do their work. So I asked her, would you like to go back to school? She said, no. I said, why? Then she told me that one teacher told me that I am stupid and I am foolish and I can never perform. Can you imagine? And she said, so I know that even if I go to school, I cannot obtain anything. So you see, now the effect it brought on someone's destiny, it's like basically cutting short the youthful years of someone, because that child was young, which I think she was around 15 or maybe 14. So you can imagine if someone destroys your identity and your perception towards life at that age, that means that whole generation has been wasted. So the effects of violence are major. When we talk about rape, someone who has been raped, even when they get married, they will have that sense of an unworthiness. They will even find it difficult to sleep with their husbands because they will feel shy, they will feel unworthy, they feel they are dirty, they feel like as if that they have a negative attitude towards all men, regardless of how much love you can show them. Talk about fear. Someone is fearful even when there's nothing. Someone is scared all the time. They have those panic attacks because their inner man has been overshadowed with fear, with the low esteem and all that manipulation and control. We talk about other effects like mental illness. We have seen people run mad. We have seen people who are talking about who are into addiction. That pastor was talking about addictions. Addiction is just a sign, but there's always a cause. When you see someone and when they are addicted to alcohol or any abuse, the addiction is not the problem, but what is causing them to be addicted to something is where the problem is. So, and most times when you see these people who are into drugs, who are into prostitutes, who are into all those forms of addiction, when you sit down with them and really ask them what would be the cause, they will tell you, if they are able to open up, you will find that the problem has not started today. It started maybe from childhood. Pastor talked about upbringing. Most of our people are affected at the level of child upbringing. When the image of a child is lost in their formative years, what we call primitive years of 0 to 7 or to 10 years there, when the child's identity has not been formed properly, they will forever have a deficit in their life unless God intervenes. Because for us who believe, we know that God can restore an image at any age. But even by the time God restores you, you have lost the most productive years of yours. But of course, we believe that God restores and even restores more than what we have achieved. But even then, it comes with effects of long-term and short-term upon the person and even the community. Because when we see these people who fight, we are talking about who are involved in violence. Some of the causes we didn't talk about them, like personality disorders. That means someone their lifestyle is affecting even people in society. Because when someone has an abnormality, either mentally, like disorders, where we talk about narcissism, when we talk about borderline personality disorders and social behaviors, all those affect the people they are living with. Because pastor said, why should someone be fighting with and even Afande said that, why would someone be fighting with a wife whom they love? It's because these people don't know how to control their emotions. They do not know how to, the proper ways of handling situations. So all that is the inability, the inability to be able to balance with the external stimuli that come. So there's a lot of impact it brings on the person, both short term and long term, and even to the people they stay with. So you also asked about about some of the mitigations or maybe places of safety. Yeah, like
Yeah,
I find I talked
the
about.
role that the different communities like play in supporting the healing of these victims, or in case are there any community-based counseling programs or support networks that you know about that you could share?
Yeah, like here, the referral, we have an office specifically for GBV, where they handle all those cases. And even here in Barra, we have offices at the police, family unity, child protection offices, and even at different health centers, there are counselors. We have peer counselors, and we also have people who have started their own private entities in our communities with this mushrooming of mental illnesses and mental issues rising up. They will have different offices and private and governmental and NGOs who are established in our region in Barra and even countrywide, which deal with that. And then also we have community-based engagement offices where people could run to the LOC1. There are those private I was talking about, and then also non-governmental and governmental offices which are based in our societies where people can run to. Yeah, help is there, but the problem we have, the challenge we have, like Afande said, people have not yet gained that confidence of seeking for help. We are still sensitizing and creating awareness that people should really come up and open up, because we know that these things are happening in our neighborhood, at our places of work, in our homes, and everywhere we go. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that psychological perspective about intimate partner violence. So, Pastor Joseph, do we still have you on the call? Because I think we lost Afande Mucunguzi. I don't know if we still have Pastor Joseph on the call. Pastor Joseph, are you still on the call?
Yes.
All right. Thank you so for keeping it with us. And so our viewers, we are still on our community show, and this is a Civic Space TV. So, Pastor, would know, what do you think has been the role of spiritual counseling and using these specific biblical teachings to help victims? And one question in particular, when has it been the right time for the congregation or victims or those Christians, when is it the right time to stop? Because I mean, we've seen people confess and say, I kept praying about it, but he kept beating me, or I kept praying about it, she kept abusing me emotionally. So what has been the role of this kind of counseling, where you have a lot of times called in the partners, talk to them together? Lately, we have a lot of churches in Kampala where you find maybe your spouse goes to a different one. You both are, one of you guys is maybe seeking counseling from the church, the other one is not. So what has been the role of this kind of spiritual counseling in helping to deal with intimate partner violence?
Okay, thank you very much. And I thank the participants that have been sharing and supporting. Now, as a church and a Christian-based entity, counseling helps us, also helps the partners, so that they may know how to know what to do and when to do it, and how to handle each other. But majorly, also, if we are having an issue of a family, it's advisable to have the two partners together, then you advise, and so that you can counsel them. Because if you only talk to one party, you don't know if the other party is lying to you or this party is talking the truth. So if you have both of them together and talk to them and even pray with them, they can change, or also use other measures of how to advise and even how to include other people. Because the Bible speaks to us, if you have an issue with the people, You need to handle it personally first. Then if it refuses to change, or someone refuses to change, then you involve another party so that we can help them grow. And even because sometimes, as I told you, that the parents of today, they're just doing what they have seen their parents do or other people do. So you need to talk to them that this is not right. Biblically, it is not right. Culturally, maybe in your culture, it's okay for a man to beat a woman or a woman to fight and do the other things. But biblically, this is what is meant to be done. So what do? We, as a church, how do we get in? How do we involve ourselves in a family that is having issues? One, if they come to us, we can go to them. In our communities, there are very many people. There are many people that have advised and God has helped them to change. And I normally speak to people that the challenge you have as a church or as the community, some people seem, if somebody is willing to be helped, it's very easy to be helped also. But if somebody does not know that is needs help, that is so complicated. Because some people you may advise and it says the way I'm handling my matter is the way I'm supposed to handle it. But if somebody is willing to change, a willing heart is changes so easily. So as a church, we enter in, we advise the couple from the first day, because even before the wedding, we have teachings. We talk to them before even they begin marriage. There is a teaching we teach them for a month, how to handle marriage, how to handle disagreements, how to handle this. So we are in their lives from the first start of their as before they say they do. So it helps us to. I was saying that our involvement in the the partner's life is the time they enter church, and the time we talk to them, even before marriage, we talk to them. There is a setting that we speak a teaching for a full month, how to handle this, how to handle this, how to handle ABCD. So we talk to them, and those people that come on along the way, then you can handle things easier.
Well, I think that's a bit systematic, and I like it that you do. That is what you guys term as a premarital counseling, right?
Yes. Yes, that is.
Oh, wow. That is quite interesting work that you are up to. But I would also like to pick your mind. What kind of initiatives or programs do you think churches should implement to educate communities about intimate partner abuse? The reason why I'm asking this is because you have shed more light into what our communities have been, and now we have normalized a lot of these issues. I mean, if my father was beating my mother, high chances are I will take it as okay. So we believe you as religious leaders, you hold positions of influence. If you stand at the pulpit, talk about something, the rest will take it as very serious and will act upon it. So what kind of initiatives, besides this kind of counseling that you do in churches, what kind of other initiatives do you think religious or faith-based organizations, I mean churches, can implement to educate the different communities of their origin about intimate partner violence?
Only on the pulpit, but also there is a setting apart. We set apart days to meet these people and talk to them and advise, because we know that as a human being, sometimes you can somebody may annoy you, somebody do this, but we have conferences that we do. We set apart for married people. We have married retreats where people we go for 2 to 3 days, and the married people are together, being talked to, they are talked to, and even advised how to handle. When we see people that are having issues, violence in their marriages, we are involved, but we cannot go beyond the law. Sometimes you can find somebody has been beaten this, there, and there is also forgiving, but we talk to them and even the law takes its course. Because we are under the law, or we are under the government of Uganda, and some things we cannot handle them as us also, but we handle them together because a church works with the government. There is no way a church works alone, and there is no way the state works alone. We all work together. So how do we handle it? We talk to them and advise them. There are people that fail to understand, but if failure to understand, then we can involve the law so that they can be helped. It's not somebody that is going to die in marriage because they are supposed to be together, because the commitment we have is lifetime. But if there are things that are not going well, even the law, we can add on the law, because we are under also the law of Uganda. But as a church, we have marriage retreats, we have conferences, and we talk to people, and where people open up, we give them opportunity, because there are things we cannot do at the pulpit. We cannot have a conversation of married people on the pulpit, a Sunday service, where we have children, where we have teenagers, but we designate time for marriage and talk to them and advise them how to handle their marriages. That even that.
Thank you so much, Pastor. I like how. Please go on. Please go on.
That this will talk. Somebody may not open up in the church when a Sunday service, but if there is a set that this is set for marriage, they can open up. And he says, is it in order for someone to force me? Is it in order for somebody to do this? When somebody opens up, when they are married only, it helps also another person to know that this, what I've been doing is not right, or what I've been doing, I thought it was right, and it's not right. And he checks himself and he reorganizes himself to do what is right, when we have a setting of only marriage and also families.
Oh, thank you for your submission. It factors into the law into perspective, and of course we have to be law-abiding citizens. And I also love the fact that you talk about the fact that marriage doesn't have to do it's yes, till death do us apart. But I mean, if you guys are going to kill each other, then something has to be done. So thank you so much for the doing in averting partner violence. So before you go, because I think we left Afande Mucunguzi, we lost him, but we are a bit coming to the conclusion of the show. So before we get to that bit, I would like to ask Molly. We understand partner violence brings about these feelings of lonely to speak up. What is the role of friends and family? I think that mainly constitutes the whole community in helping people to speak out and open up. And what kind of programs do you think should be ended to help victims, be it women, be it men, to open up against intimate partner violence to access justice?
Thank you so much. The role of family and friends, number one is support. Give support to the victim who is experiencing the violence, and to give a listening ear, not to judge, because you see already that person who is going through that situation, they are already going through a lot inwardly that you can't even put a finger to. They're judging themselves already. Why did I choose this man? Where was I looking? Or why did I choose this woman? How stupid am I? Things like those. So it is very important as family members and friends to give a listening ear and to give support. At that time, someone what they need most is a safe environment where they can open up, because the more they open up, the more they share, the more they heal. As they share, as they open up, they are crying, they are judging themselves, they are basically venting out all those feelings of what they have been harboring all this time. Remember, we said that if someone is abusive, they are they isolate you. They don't want to talk to people. At times they even take away your phones and even throw away your SIM cards. So now when it has already been known publicly and you are not opening up, and now you know and your friends and families are coming, it is good for you to have a change of environment and either stay with your friend or at your parents' place, and make sure that those people you're staying with also build a conducive environment around you, not to judge you and say, we told you not to get married to this man. I wish you had been married to this one who had this. You refused and went with this one. No, that's not time for that. Remember, who is looking after such person. Yours right now is to give a shoulder where someone can lean, create an environment which can be a safe environment where someone can lean, open up, cry, regret, pour out whatever they want to pour out, and then also seek help. Seek help from counselors, from psychologists, pastors, like we were saying, and also from offices of law and of law, where they can implement and hold accountable to the perpetrator who has done whatever they have done, and hold them accountable. Fund has given us hotlines. We can use those ones. We can go to police. We can go to family. We can come to offices of GBV, like I had told you, on different hospitals. There are those offices. We can reach out to our LOC1s, LOC2s, LOC3s, and LOC5s. All those are places of where we can run to for law. If it needs law, we run to the side of law. If it needs psychotherapy, counseling, mentoring, it needs also interpersonal introspection, because at times when we get involved in domestic in that kind of violence, because we are the one who have caused it. So there's also need for you as a person to sit yourself and down and see what was your contribution towards this. Yes, you might be having a abusing partner, an abusing wife or spouse, but what has been your contribution? Is there anywhere where you became a trigger? And then also see yourself, how did you lower yourself to this point? And then also start building yourself. Yes, in communities, we have support systems, we have groups of victims who gather together so that they can fellowship, they can share. Some people have already recovered from them, they share their success stories. And then those who already who are still going through it and it is still fresh, they also share their feelings at that time, what is going on, what is going in their mind, how they are finding challenges to relocate to a new place. Then there are many mitigations we can do. We can do skill development so that someone gets something that can distract them. Because when you keep yourself busy, we normally hear that an idle mind is a workshop of the devil. But in as much as you are a victim of something, when you get something that can keep you busy, you quickly heal, because now instead of recoiling your energy back to regret and crying and spend a day doing this, regretting, crying, sleeping, eating, and go into body coping mechanism. When you get something you can do, maybe a skill that keeps you busy, you get into groups of people who are doing something that is constructive, you get into friends or any activity or anything that can keep you busy, you quickly heal, because with that, you don't even know how the day has ended. Instead of you spending a day crying, you have spent a day working, and then when you go back home, you're tired, you just sleep, and you quickly heal and quickly get out of that. Then you have to also open up. You have to open up to people who can help you, because at times Pastor said at times you want to help someone, but they are not willing to be helped. They don't want to open up. And when someone has not opened up, it is hard for you to allocate where the source of the problem is. But when someone is honest and genuine and they open up, then you are able to find a solution. You are able to find, to screen and know what is the problem. And then even that opening up, of detailed opening up, helps you to know where to refer the person. Because at times you can find that, yes, the person has opened up to you, but you are not able to help them at that moment. Then you refer them, either like we were saying, do they need to go to police? Do they need to go and see a counselor? Do they need their own themselves to sit down and work on themselves because the issues with them? So it is very important for any victim or survivor to open up and open up genuinely, because when they open up, you are able to know where the problem is. You're able to know how far it is. You're able to know how deep it is and how to help them. Because we normally say if someone has a wound and they cover it, it won't get healed. But when you open it up and wash it and dress it properly, someone heals quickly. So whenever we're going through such situations, it's very important for us to open up. And most times, like we say, people don't open up because they fear, they don't trust. They have that mistrust, lack of confidentiality, either to the side of family members, either maybe to the health workers or to the counselors. Or like now we are living in the generation where everything is showbiz. So
yeah, so social media. Did you actually see that case where a Hajati was brought a Haji to court over the Haji having like molested and defiled their own daughter?
Yes, I saw it.
It all began with social media as well. So I think it's like kind of a double-edged sword, because in one way, justice is going to be served, I mean, to either of the parties. But then in another way, some people feel we are so big, we are influencers. How will they see me that I'm being beaten by my spouse back at home? So they like cover up, and in the inside they are struggling. And I think most times as a therapist, this can actually lead to even thoughts of self-harm.
And suicidal tendencies, because I think in this whole year we have seen many people who are dignitaries. You find that in news that someone killed themselves, someone died last night, someone committed suicide. Why? Because people fear to open up because of the different positions they are holding in society. But people should always remember to regard that when you are holding a position, it is just a position. There's a difference between a career you're doing. There's a difference between the position you're holding and you as a person, because these positions we hold, they are temporary. Today I'm a midwife, tomorrow I can change and become and go for more books and become a doctor. So people should always know that you as a person, you are more important than the position you hold. Like a friend said, you cannot you cannot mother children when you are dead. So you yourself, you must put yourself on a place where you save so as to save others. So, and then these people who are celebrities who fear to speak out. In fact, if they could speak out, they would even become an arrow of hope.
Exactly,
and even cause
champions of the story. They are inspiring other people to also open up and speak up about the same struggles and seek for help.
Yes, that's true.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you so much, Molly. I think to our viewers, before you go off, Molly and Pastor, I need you for just a bit of a second. So I think to our viewers, you have really heard it from Molly, from Afande Jackson, from Pastor Joseph, that you need to be willing to receive the help. And you need to know where to seek the help from. So Pastor Jackson Joseph talked about the different church initiatives as couples or as individuals. You could go into counseling, or you could join the different church programs, and you get a chance to speak out and open up, because they are creating more accessible spaces. So now as an individual, you need to understand this I take from Molly. what kind of trigger have you been, or what actually triggers you to be that? Because I think in dealing with intimate partner violence, we also have to look at the perpetrators of this kind of violence. If it is in terms of physical, who is beating, we need to understand you who is beating, what triggers you to beat this person, because we understand it is not okay. So we need to come from a place of self-awareness as well, to understand our past, our present, and to look at our future, where we are going, because no one actually believes deserves to be like treated like an animal in a marriage, in a friendship, in a relationship. Yeah, so we have to, and as families, as communities, the number one thing that I've gained from today's talk is we have to listen without judging. We have to be kind to the victims and understand where they come from, and to listen without judging them. I've been seeing this whole cessation of a challenge of we listen, we do not judge. I wish we could reciprocate it in terms of listening to our friends who are undergoing this kind of violence. Then we also need to change environments, something that I've also learned today. We also need to build conducive environments. As you are in that marriage, have a place of support that you go to when you are having challenges, so they don't just pile up and explode at once to cause you to beat someone, or to cause that someone to beat you, you understand, or to torture you in the different psychological ways that we have learned about. Then we also need to create safe environments as the future opportunities in averting intimate partner violence. We have to create conducive environments where people can open up and share, could be at work, could be in our families. And then as victims, we also need to seek out for champions, people who have been through this. I'm grateful to social media, much as it's a double-edged sword. It makes you believe things that are really not real, but then there are also real things. So there are people out there who have opened up about their struggles. You could choose to speak to them, or you could be a champion of your very own story. Yeah, so as we summarize up the show, I hope our viewers have learned that there are different support spaces available. Especially Molly talked about the police. There are different offices at police. Also, Afande Jackson talked about police. But I would also like to bring to light a space that I know about. I think this is a space at Mental Health Uganda. It's based in Lunguja. They also have a toll-free line that you can call in case you need counseling and if you're experiencing intimate partner violence. So you can go to the Mental Health Uganda website or dial 0800 212121. 0800-212121. They can give free counseling. And in case you want to reach out to police about a case on intimate partner violence, I found the helpline that is 0800 199195. 0800-199195. And he also shed more light about Sauti, which is you just have to dial 116 and they'll be able to help. Then also you can walk to any police station, like Molly said. You can walk to any facility, could be the regional hospitals. They always have those offices that give mental health support and any other support that you would need. There are also different other organizations that give free litigation in terms of legal cases. So you could seek them out. I don't know if the ones I knew about still operate, but if you use your Google search, you could find some maybe in Uganda that give this kind of help. So as we wrap up the show, I think I'm going to begin with Pastor. Pastor, as we wrap up the show, would like you to give us your final text by telling us what is that one thing that every Ugandan can do to contribute to preventing intimate partner violence. And then you can also, in a few seconds, encourages our viewers to engage in the different initiatives that help reducing gender-based violence and intimate partner violence. So over to you, Pastor, as you make your final remarks. Those are the reflection questions that you can answer to our viewers. So Pastor Joseph, please.
Okay, thank you very much. We thank you very much, the moderator, and even giving us an opportunity to be here to share with the people. How do we prevent the violence in our community or in our families? One, as I told you, we need to do our responsibility as the Bible speaks that the husband has to love the wife. So I know, and I told you that loving someone, loving is not only the word love, and you say I love you, but love is giving, love is kind, love is patient, and love is forgiving. And even also they tell us as women also to respect their partners, and even to listen to one another. As we wrap it up, when we listen to one another, we communicate. What always bursts out to be violence is because things are kept and held and are not talked about. When they're not talked about, they pile so much, and somebody just bursts out in anger to see that he wants his communication made known, that it has been too much. So whenever we have an issue, we don't keep it for tomorrow, but we hold an arrangement of talking peacefully, and we handle it that matter what. What is making domestic violence to be so rampant in our community or in our families is because people pile up things. So when this happens, it's just a blast of what has been happening for quite a long time. And yet sometimes people, because they have not grown up with someone, you may be doing something and you feel you are doing it right, and you are not doing it right, and the person is not talking about it. So he continues and you see many mistakes. But if we can talk, if give room to talk, then we shall not have that violence in our homes. We shall not have violence in our families. If we can talk about it, get time to talk about it, then things will be better. So in the case that God should give us the grace to handle them the right way. We are supposed to handle them in our families. We are supposed to handle them in our communities, even in our homes. Because we need to know that thank you so much. May God bless you.
Thank you so much, Pastor, for those closing remarks. And I think our viewers, that has been loud and clear. Do not pile up issues. Get someone to talk to, get a space to open up to, because no one deserves to be mistreated, to be subject to psychological torture, to be subject to narcissism, to be subject to physical torture as well, all in the name of a marriage, a relationship, or a situationship in that matter. So thank you so much, Pastor, for joining us today on the community show. And now I'm going to ask Molly to also give us her last take. What do you think, Molly, that one thing that every Ugandan can do to contribute to preventing intimate partner violence? What can every Ugandan do to contribute to preventing intimate partner violence?
Thank you, Derrick. Has been a wonderful show. Number one, I will talk about you cannot deliver others unless you're delivered. So it starts with self-awareness. You as a person, you must be self-aware, because when you have that self-awareness, you have what we call norms, you have what we call principles, you know you're normal and normal, you know what is normal to you and what is not abnormal. So when you get into a relationship, number one, you do not just get in a relationship for the sake of relationship. Seek to know the person you are relating to. or you're relating with, be aware of their red flags. You see, especially for ladies, when we see red flags when you're in a relationship, we start saying, the person will change, I will love them and they will change. It's because he was angry, it's because I came late, it's because maybe I did this. We start defending the person, and then we cover up for the red flags. But we should really be aware of the person we are relating with and see and be able to notice the red flags, and then there, before you commit to anything, know that this person is this and this and this. Know that the abnormal and the abnormal about the person. And if you consent that you're going to take the person, then you're ready for what we are saying right now. But no one deserves to be in a relationship where they're abused and beaten and what. So then the other thing, we need to be kind. Each one of us, we need to be the champion and raise a flag against the domestic violence, IPV, intimate partner violence, and reach out to people in our neighborhood. You have a friend, they are married, or maybe they're in a relationship. You are seeing signs, but you're fearing to talk. Reach out to them. This information we've shared right now, having the phone numbers where you can hold hotline, and many other mitigations we are saying, reach out to them, educate people, educate fellow girls, educate women, educate boys, the boys about how, if they are experiencing this violence, how can they get out? How can they get help? Where can they find help? Because most people at times they also need help, but they don't know where to find help. So it is very important for us to advertise and advocate and promote this information, so that everyone can know that if I have a situation, I can run here. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to me. And also you can run to us. That's why you are counselors. We are here to offer these services. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Molly, and to all our viewers. We hope you had a Merry Christmas and you are looking forward to a new year. Just to re-echo for you, intimate partner violence robs you of the opportunity to live a fruitful life. It robs you of the opportunity to be productive at work, to run your day-to-day activities as you ought to. It can plunge you into depression. It can lead you into anxiety, into post-traumatic stress disorder, and it can actually lead to death. So please adhere to the different flags that you see about your partners. Please be self-aware of who you really are, who you want to be, and where you want to be. So please be as mindful as you can. And to those who are not in relationships, please have kind ears. Please be kind to people who are sharing their stories to you. And yeah, together we can create a community that is free of gender-based violence and intimate partner-based violence. So it has been me, your host, Derrick Mugabe, and I wish you, from I and the community at CCG and our different partners, and to all you viewers, we wish you a happy new year. Thank you for standing with us and streaming to our shows this year. May you have yourselves a good afternoon. Thank you so much.